Noor Jahan, of course, is the most famous of all. She has coins minted with her name. She issues declarations, orders, farmans in her name. So she is virtually a co-regent along with Jahangir. There is actually a very interesting analysis of Akbar's own understanding of women after he arrives in Hindustan, because he is deeply affected and influenced by the Rajputs. And this is Harvansh Bukhia's thesis, that in fact this association of shame and honor with women is something that does not exist for Akbar at all. It is something that does not exist for the Central Asian, in the Central Asian context at all. Women are free to, to travel, to hunt, to picnic, to be part of politics in a fairly public way. This is not the case amongst the Rajputs. And once this idea of shame and honor gets associated with women, Akbar actually is very confused in how to handle it, because women of his own family are extremely free. Nobody's going to tell them what to do or not to do. But also, there's this larger social pressure. So more than once, Abul Fazl will write that, Akbar had a daughter and he celebrated the birth of his daughter against the practice of contemporaries. So, and that we can understand even now, that the celebration of a daughter's birth is not common. And even the construction of the harem as a fixed place is something that happens in Akbar's time. Before that, it is a sort of a collective noun for the women in the family. It is not a fixed guarded space, which is what Akbar constructs. So if anything, the person who is battling these gender norms and biases in the stories that I have read, it is Akbar, because he's shifting between two very, very difficult and different contexts.